Yeah. I think you're a little early on that one. I think you're changing it up.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, I got excited. I saw Anita dancing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're at podcast number 1112, summer 13. We have a great one lined up today.
Mm-hmm.
We have a true leader in her industry. But before I tell you who that is, let me do her introduction. Lovingly.
Mm-hmm.
Today's guest comes from a family of 6 siblings and today has 3 of her own children. This 44-year-old real estate agent has been married to the most amazing man, Craig, for 16 years. Let's see if I can make you cry on this one. Her past professional life includes owning 2 restaurants and a clothing boutique. She firmly believes that the road to success is paved with failure and is not afraid of challenges. And that is why she has been named RE/MAX's #1 individual agent of Manitoba.
Woo.
For 2019. We have Mrs. ANITA Sharma in the house.
Yeah, baby.
Did you know you get a standing ovation when you come onto the podcast?
Nice.
Awesome. So how are you doing?
Doing great. How about you guys?
We're good. We're powering through. We did a workout this morning. Did a little Jane Fonda business. Got our butt cheeks engaged.
Can't wait to do it later.
You've been working out following us?
Been loving these virtual workouts.
Yeah?
Really, really loving them.
Do you like doing that more than coming in for a workout?
You know what? For me, the virtual workouts have really been working.
Mm-hmm.
I can do them at 10:25, 11:46. So I can do them whenever it works for me.
Yep.
And I really like that.
You have a good setup at your place to like some room and...
You know what? The kids are home right now, so where I've been doing them is my master bedroom because the door has a lock, and I get 30, 40 minutes to myself.
Yeah.
So it's been really good.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do the kids join you? Do they
You
want to
know,
get in there and
my
bug
daughter, My daughter has done a few with me. She's great.
Yeah.
My son, came in the other day. He's like, "Oh, this is what you do," and he saw the weights, and he's like, "Maybe I'll do one with you."
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
I think it's gonna work well for parents because their kids they're at home and they don't know what to do, and I think kids are gonna get really bored with being on their phones and playing. I think video games are a whole different addiction, but I think they're gonna get bored with doing all the other things, and then they're gonna see, hey, like you're working out. It's like, hey, let me try it, and then I think it's gonna build a bonding moment for a lot of people.
I would think that
Their dogs too. Right?
Yep, you bet. I think in a situation like this, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but you would almost say, okay, well, people are going to start getting used to working out at home. We have to, right? But once the world opens back up again, I feel like people have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And they have to have that external motivation. They have to have the
Exactly.
coaches. And I made a post the other day about closing the liquor store. Ton of comments on that one. And I had basically said, so why are we closed? Why is Fit Club closed, but the liquor store is open? And I kept getting these comments.
101 comments.
Why can't you just work out at home? And I think the answer to that question is, well, why do gyms exist?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know why we can't work out at home. We
Yeah.
just don't. We can't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just because working out for the most part is moving your body, it doesn't mean people really understand how to do it. You still need the direction and the coaches and the facility. And I feel like people really like to go somewhere, just like a coffee.
Yeah.
You can make coffee at home, but you want to go to Mountain Bean or wherever to get your coffees, right? I'm just wondering. I'm wondering that if after this coronavirus, if it's going to rewire our brains to say we got to start doing things different. Working out at home, Zoom calling, right? Your industry, you guys have probably, for the most part, shut down the open houses. I know the Parade of Homes got canceled halfway through. How are you navigating your business now with that? Like, so if I call you and I want to go look at a house, are we doing that or what?
You know what? It depends. We're doing a lot of screening right now.
Define that. What does that mean?
You know what? Our profession has been deemed an essential service. There,
Oh, I saw that.
Rewind back to a month ago. I sold my client's house. She's been looking for a house. All of a sudden, there's not as many homes on the market.
Yeah.
She needs to buy something. She's going to be homeless in 4 weeks, right? So really, I'm working, and other realtors in my office are working on a case-by-case basis. If it's someone new, we ask the questions, can you wait? Like, what's your timeline look like? Have you been sick? Have you been away? So we're asking all the questions. We don't want to put ourselves at risk. We don't want to put them at risk. We don't want to put our sellers at risk. So asking a lot of questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it's business as usual, but people are just fearful of somebody coming into their home and looking at it or going into someone's home. That's obviously the number one thing that's holding back.
100%.
Yeah.
You know what? With me, I had a lot of homes listed prior to this coronavirus breaking out. I called each one of my sellers and I said, what would you like to do? We can take it off the market, we can continue, or we could just see how it goes. And I've had all different kinds of responses. So some have withdrawn, some are just taking it day by day, and some that are just, getting their home ready for market or just pausing right now.
Yeah.
So,
Do you find that a lot of people that are in the process of buying or selling have come up to financial hardships? Their businesses are affected. Their jobs have been lost. Like, is that a motivating factor as well?
100%. I had a few pending deals that, one, for instance, he's a cleaner at a fitness center and got laid off and had to withdraw his contract. So, it's kind of devastating to see for these people. It was their first property. They were so excited, but, we said, we'll revisit it in a couple months.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel like this isn't going to happen.
So while I have you here, so what is the most popular type of home that people want to buy? Is there one, or is it kind of all over? I mean, I know everybody's different, and families and single people, I get it, but what is the most sought after type of property? Well,
you know what? Obviously, there's a price point that's super attractive for people, right? A lot of first-time home buyers, that takes up a lot of our market share. But I sell all kinds of properties.
So what is that price point?
You know what? That kind of $250 to $350 range is quite popular.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yep.
It's affordable for many. But again, I sell North End homes. I sell brand new condos. I sell custom built homes.
How about homes on Dufferin with the small business opportunity at the front? How does that sound in that 250 to 350 range?
I've sent that link out to quite a few people, so let's see what happens here.
What's the address again? I forgot.
412 Dufferin Avenue.
412 Dufferin.
Great little
That's
property if
That's
you're looking
right.
for an investment property. There's a commercial front. There's a residential
Yeah.
component in the back,
Yeah.
and a giant garage if you're the type of guy with a big ass
huge
truck.
garage. Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, that's
You know
my
what?
property.
You never
for
know,
sale.
Rick. Now that people are working from home, they might.
That's exactly
they
what
might
I
see
thought.
It as attractive.
I've been doing this for 20 years. I feel like I'm ahead of the curve by 2 decades.
You
You know what I
are.
mean? And you know me. You don't know my opinion on commuting, but I am anti-commuting. I think it is the most. It is a time killer. It is a life killer. It is a money killer.
Yeah.
And for some people, or for some reason, people have no problem like living outside of the city
No, I
and
don't
driving
get
to
it. No.
downtown
No.
and back and forth, and they're like, oh, I enjoy it. I'm like, no, you don't. There's no way you do. You might like a song once in a while, or maybe you like the peace and quiet, but there's zero chance that you like doing it on a daily basis.
20 minutes is a long drive.
That's a
for
huge
Winnipeg.
drive.
20 minutes. In Vancouver, I've been there. 20 minutes, you're just getting onto the freeway, right? But here in Winnipeg, if you're driving 20 minutes, that's a long drive. Like, let's pack a meal and get an audiobook ready to go.
Yep.
It's nice for you because, that's when I do all my phone calling and stuff like that, I'm sure. Headphones, obviously, wireless headset and all that.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, our massage therapist, she comes from out of town. She loves living out in, Victoria Beach. But a little bit of snow.
Yeah.
RJ, I got to count. You just lost 10 clients.
Yeah.
You lost a full day's wage.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Convenience. And one of the things that you want to talk about is some ways to save money during this epidemic. So that is one.
Let's go there before we forget.
And so that's a big
Okay.
change, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at ways to cut a few bucks out of your life so that you can sustain yourself if that's the case, or maybe throw that money into fitness, which of course we always encourage.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, us saying that doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to sell my house, I'm going to move closer to wherever it is. We get it.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things that you can incrementally start thinking about now, implement it in 1 or 2 or 3 years, and it all starts to add up. And that's one of the things that my wife and I did 5 years ago. Is I always say it all started with this garage sale. We adopted this minimalist lifestyle. We decided that we weren't going to be consumers.
Yeah.
She was all about like candles and kind of knickknacks and throw pillows.
Hey,
and,
don't even go there.
and-
You have a whole thing of glass blown
and
stuff.
I was this weirdo that had to collect stuff. I was a collector. I
You
used
had
to
100 signs.
Yeah, you remember we were in that antique show. I can't remember what it's called, but
Sure.
they go around to different towns and garages. They buy old vintage stuff and then they sell it in their store. Yeah, whatever that show is called, it got me right hooked. Right, so I'm like, I'm gonna buy old signs. I'm gonna buy all these bowls. Chalet glasses, what they're called. I'm not even getting into it, but I started collecting things, going to flea markets, going to garage sales, literally spending a whole weekend randomly driving around trying to find these things, and I put thousands of dollars into it. And it wasn't even something that I displayed. I just put it in a big Rubbermaid, and I jammed it into my garage.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, this is so pointless. Why do I keep spending all this money on stuff like this? And once I started doing that and practiced getting rid of collections and practiced not always looking for, when I have to go out, I got to go spend money. That's why we ride a bike, like a mountain bike now, because we just do that for free. So there's a ton of ways to save a lot of money. And like I was saying, if you can be smart about it and you can be consistent with it, slowly, compoundly, you can almost save a full year's wage. You can if you in fact
100%.
track it. So anyways, that would be my one thing. But what else you got?
So let me ask you this. Why is it that people are wanting to move outside of the city? Like, is it because they want their dream house, but they don't, but to get it in the city is, like, why are people moving to Niverville? Like, I drove out there for a buddy. He bought a beautiful house, and I'm like, man, it took me an hour to get here.
Yeah.
Like, and he worked 30 minutes away from there.
Right. You know what? These kind of rural settings that are just outside the city are attractive to a lot of people. Me, myself, I moved my family out to West St. Paul 2 years ago, right? Honestly, for us, everyone has their reasons, right? They want to be maybe closer to friends or family, or someone's moved out there and said great things about it.
Yep.
For us, going to West St. Paul, it was just a peaceful setting. It was a larger landscape. It was, not having to worry about a bunch of cars driving down our street and that sort of thing. So for us, it was for those reasons.
But in 10 years, but I guess in 10 years you can reevaluate things. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's
Can't
a bunch
stop
of
growth,
there's
right?
a bunch of homes that are popping up there. Fab Homes, I see these all over. Who's
Yeah.
this guy?
Well,
Right? Fab
he's
Homes.
pretty good. They're pretty
Right?
great. They're pretty great. We have
He owns
one
that
for
whole
sale right
strip,
now.
man.
Yeah.
But
Eventually it's going to be
you know
busy.
what? Yeah, it'll develop. But
Yep.
when you're sitting on like a 1 acre lot,
Yep.
you know that nothing's going to develop in that 1 acre lot.
True.
Right. So for us, it was more for those reasons, and each one of my clients has their own reasons why it's attractive.
I've found since we've moved to River Ridge where we are, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, if it's not walking distance, I'm not going. Right? Like even the gym now is 7 minutes from my house, which is 5 minutes closer than where I was, and I'm like, this is like a blessing.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens. You get caught. Your little suburban area becomes your world, right?
Yeah.
And you usually have services and businesses that service you. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
You stick through. I support North End business. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
I try to do. The way that I will determine if I'm going to do business with you is based on your location to me.
Yeah.
Like the guy who fixed my mechanic, he is literally 1.5 blocks away, so I can drop my car off, walk home, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere I shop is there. Every service, my doctor is 3 blocks, my bank is 3 blocks. And I did that for a reason, and that's just I can quickly be there and back, not waiting. Like if I had to take my truck over to, say, Ford Landau, which is by Polo Park, and I did that one time because when I bought the truck, that's where it originally came from. Yeah. Go there, and they say, "Oh, we'll shuttle you back, Rick. No problem." All right, so I sat in the shuttle with 6 other people. 5 of them had to get
the shuttle
dropped
first.
off before me,
Ugh.
and the guy has there's no sense of urgency on this guy. He's
They're
150
retired.
years
Yeah.
old, right, and he's just a driver. And we were doing like 30 kilometers an hour, and I was like, an hour and a half later, I got from Polo Park to my place. I was like, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for the service, but I could have walked home faster,
Yeah.
But anyways, we're not trying to say one is better than the other. In fact, I do enjoy being out into the country landscape. It is very peaceful, absolutely. But
Oh, you're from Dauphin?
I'm from Dauphin, yeah.
My mom is from Nipawa.
Oh, nice.
And I spent up until I was probably 12 years old out in Nipawa. So I'm a country guy too. But I love the city. I would move to our downtown, but I would definitely move to somebody else's downtown.
I love our downtown. Actually. I disagree completely. I really enjoy our downtown.
It's definitely better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
What do you think it's going to take to get some critical mass downtown?
It's happening,
Yeah, it
right?
is.
Like with every time I show one of the urban condo developments, I always say I could see myself here without kids,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so if it was like that 20 years ago when I was buying my first place, that's where I would want to be.
Yeah.
A lot
Nary-
of young professionals down there.
Yeah, Neri and I, before we bought this house, we were going to pull the trigger and buy a condo, like a 2,000 square foot glass in the. Oh man, that would have been bad.
Glass house.
Glass house. Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
looking at all those along, like waterfront there, and I'm glad we didn't. It's just that when you have kids, it's a whole different. They're young right now,
Yeah.
so they're inside, but I
Yeah.
can see it becoming a problem as they get older.
Yeah.
And who wants to move, right? Like, how do you move lots or?
No, you know what? Like, I've moved maybe 3 times in my life.
Yeah.
And again, it's circumstance for people why they move, right? But for us, It was 3 times, and we're I see us being where we are right now for a really long time.
Can I touch on the condo question? So, what I find that some condos appreciate, some depreciate.
Yeah.
What is if you're thinking about resale? What is the type of condo that you want? What are the characteristics? Like 1914, I'm assuming will always appreciate.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Like it's at one of the top price points for
okay.
North Winnipeg. Like
Okay.
you have to really love North Winnipeg to spend that type of dollar out
What,
here.
like,
right?
sorry, how much?
It was 1.1 million.
Oh, yeah.
That's right across the street here.
And
They're
right
beautiful.
across the street.
Beautiful.
So.
Yeah.
So I look at these 4-story condos that say like Timber and Bloom that's over on Lage and Chief Peguis. And then you go to say Assiniboine where they built that brand new overlooking the river. So I'm going to assume that, and that's probably concrete construction. It's got full elevator service. So I imagine that that's going to be a more valuable condo.
Right.
So let's just say that I buy 2 condos, both at $400,000, or let's say this one's at 3 because it's probably just doesn't have $400,000 condos. What is the appreciation of the downtown tall concrete construction with an elevator, and what is the appreciation of the 4-story wood frame condo?
Well, appreciation is always hard to measure, right?
Okay.
I always say to my clients, concrete construction, you don't see a lot of developers doing it because it costs money,
Oh, big
right?
time.
Everybody wants it, but they don't want to pay for it.
Yeah. And nobody's looking at, hey, this is concrete. Like,
Yeah,
they don't
and
see it.
Look
you
at.
know, a wood frame, like we see a lot of new wood frame construction out there. The price point's super attractive. I always say to my clients, you is this going to be your forever place? And if they say no, I'll say, okay, well, if you can try to, push your budget towards a 2-bedroom, maybe an underground parking stall, those always hold value, right? So
Okay.
they help with resale. So we discuss it, and sometimes, you know what, they need that 1-bedroom, 1 bath. It works for their budget, and it is what it is. But the condo market is very saturated here in Winnipeg right
Is
now.
it?
That was going to be my next question. So I drive down the 59, and just over that, what's that bridge there? Concordia Bridge. There's like 1 million homes that popped up in the last 66 months. Like, what is all that?
You know what? People are buying.
Yeah.
They're coming from somewhere.
must be.
Yeah, it's a lot of newcomers as well. That area, Crocus Meadows, Devonshire, super desirable. Land was very affordable there.
It's
So,
very convenient.
yeah.
I mean, you got Regent there, which is I like Regent. It's 4 lanes there. I go to Polo Park and I just cringe. Like, I don't even want to drive through Polo Park because St. James is down to 4 total lanes. Like Regent, they've got 3 to 4 lanes per side.
And
That's
yet it's
phenomenal.
still jammed down there, though. It's
It's-
so crazy.
it's really jammed down
So
there.
much commerce
Yeah.
down there. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you probably could double. You could double those lanes, especially at that intersection, Lage and Regent, right? I know I sit there for what seems like 8 minutes before I can even incrementally move forward to finally wait for the light. It's
But
crazy.
St. James is 10x that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you get stuck at St. James and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the condo market is a little bit saturated. So how do you see that playing out? Like that's what I always see is all these new construction, right? We know everybody that's building new stuff. Who's buying it? Is it all the newcomers?
All different kinds of people, newcomers, young professionals, retirees, right? So the clientele is vast. Like there's all different kinds of people buying. The brand new condos, those are a little bit of an easier sell. It's the resale condo market that's taken a little bit of a hit.
So that might answer my question. That it's not necessarily a great investment. Condos seem to be depreciating more than appreciating.
It depends. Like the downtown ones are great for short-term rentals, right? I work with an investor that owns quite a few of them, and it works for them, right? Location is prime on that, though. Airbnbs don't really work,
Yeah, do they even
kind of
have that
outside
here?
the city? They do downtown,
Yeah.
right? But in say maybe Devonshire Village, it wouldn't be as popular, right?
Yeah.
You could go to the Costco, you can go to Kildonan Park Mall,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Kildonan Place, but
Yeah.
downtown is where it's at.
That is, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. That might work for us because, we don't have kids. I do like downtown. I love being near the energy, right? And I like being on a bike. So, the only thing it has is a giant truck, which I'm sure I'd have to get rid of because I don't think it'll fit in any
No.
underground parking.
There's just not lots downtown, right? Like I like to walk around quite a bit, and we'll go with the kids and stuff. But I mean, you go to Portage Place, and there's no anything worth going there for.
What do you know about Portage Place? I know there were some proposals that somebody from Toronto was buying it, a big company, and they were going to turn it into something awesome. Have you heard
Water
anything about
slide
that?
park.
You know what? No, I haven't heard anything about that. The only time you'll really see me walking through Portage Place, and I hate to say this because I love supporting businesses,
Yeah.
but is when I'm going to MTS Center,
Yeah,
right?
and that's it.
So I haven't been there for a really long time, and I don't really know too much about what's going on there.
I would love if that place turned into just some magnificent something, you know, and with a little bit of everything, condo development, you know, residential, commercial, just real cool. And I think at the end of the day, we're losing the whole mall environment. I don't think we're going to have giant malls with businesses.
No.
I think they'll always exist, but you have to bring different components in now. There's got to be another reason. So like gyms on the inside.
Yeah.
But I think it would be super cool to live somewhere like that, and then Skywalk. You know, I think that's a real undervalued thing that exists out there that people
Skywalk
don't
is
even know.
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. You can walk around the whole city for the most part.
They
you
just
know?
need something to be desirable to go there, right? Like they have the YMCA, which is kind of rundown gym.
Yeah.
They have, you know, you go through Portage, and it's literally like, even Garden City is more updated than Portage Place. You know, like you go in there, it's the same tile. I remember when I used to come hang out here when I was 15. You
Yeah.
know, it's the same look.
The facelift at Garden City is amazing.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
You walk in there, you don't know you're in Garden City.
I like it. So you guys have kids. So what attracts parents when you're looking for something to do for kids? What do you like? Educate me. What are you trying to accomplish?
You know what? My husband, he's an outdoors guy. So before this whole Corona thing happened, every weekend they were outside. They were at a park. They were at Birds Hill, Gimli. You know, he's not really one to maybe take them to, say, Kid City. You know, that just, you know, they'd go for birthday parties. They'll go to the Forks. They'll go fishing. So a lot of outdoor activities for our kids. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And yourself? Where do you like to take the little kiddos besides here
We
so I
just,
can throw
we just
toilet
walk
paper at
around
them?
the neighborhood, right?
I see you with your backpacks. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. So the backpacks, now I do the cart. So what we're doing now is 6:30. We'll put them in the cart, and we put both kids in there with blankets, and we make it just like a bed. And then we just walk, and within 30 minutes, they're both KO'd. We bring them into the garage. We leave them in there for a half hour with the door open, bundle them up, and then we have our free time.
That's awesome.
A little camping adventure.
And then I pick him up, and I just put him into bed with his, like the other day, I picked him up, took off his shoes, and I put little like slip shoes, like little mocks, so that they just fall off, so I don't have to like pull the boots off and everything. Put him into bed, and he slept the whole night
Oh,
in his
that's
jacket,
awesome.
in his like pants, and he's like, he's warm, he's good. Like, we brush his teeth before we go out. You know, these are the little hacks. That have
there
to
you
do
go.
As a parent, yeah.
Yeah. How old are your kids now?
You know what? 13, 10, and 5.
Oh, so you did have a little one for almost up until a little recently.
Yeah,
years
I
ago.
can't. My excuse can't be I just had a baby anymore. So I used that for a good 3 years.
Yeah, that one gets used quite a bit actually.
All right, let's go to number 2 here.
Yep.
So number 1 to save money, proximity. Move to proximity. I'm going to go number 2. I said with the tea, I'm a big tea drinker. I probably drink a liter of tea a day. And I've went from the Tim Hortons where I would buy the extra large, which was, I don't know, how much was the tea today?
I don't even remember.
It's like $3-4 a tea, and that's cheap, right? You go to Starbucks, and you're looking closer to $6-7, I don't know, for a coffee. And so I just use the pods, right? Like I get over the fact that, you know, I have them everywhere, right? So I got 2 here now, right? I got 1 at home, so I put it there, boom, and I drink my tea that way. So I went from a $3 to $4 cost to down to 50 cents. And if you think about it, over a 30-day span, I'm saving almost $200, which is a lot of things, right? It's your cell phone bill, it's your Shaw cable, it's your gym membership. That's a week's worth of groceries for some people, right? That's a partial mortgage payment. Like, it's a big number, and people don't realize, like, those little small increments add up, and especially in a time like this when everybody's trying to cut dollars. They're cutting out a lot of things that are necessities, but they're not thinking about the things that aren't, that are adding to their little costs over the, you know, I look at my expense account. Where are we spending the most money? CSPs, number 1. But we're making money from this because we'll sell T-shirts.
100%.
Second is Gorilla Jacks. Like, well, that's our second highest thing, right? But we're selling we're reselling. So we're making money from the things that we're spending money. And I think a lot of people don't look at it that way. There's consumers and then there's sellers,
That's
right?
right.
And so which one are you? You got to kind of find a way to be a little bit of both.
What do you got for a tip for?
Yeah, number 3
saving
tip:
money?
save
You know
money,
what,
small or big.
We're evaluating our expenses right now. We have some time, right? Just yesterday, we canceled our TV bill. We just don't use it,
Yeah.
right? Like that's $90 a month.
Who still watches cable?
We have
had
cable.
MTS.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you watch things on cable?
We record things on cable.
So what's out there that is and I'll say this: the only thing I remember from having cable was diners, drive-ins, and dives. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Guy with the spiky hair.
HGTV.
And those. Yeah, and the guys that had the paunch.
Duck hunters.
No. They had the
Oh,
pawn
pawn hunters.
The you know what I'm talking about.
Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these were the of the 500 channels that I paid for. Those were the only two shows
I
I ever
know.
watched. I
Yeah.
just don't find what's the value in cable anymore. You can't binge
Well,
it.
you know what? I had a guilty pleasure, The Bachelor. Like I would,
yeah.
I would record that and fast forward through
Yeah.
it. But you know what? $90, we cut it.
Yeah.
I was at Sobeys the other day, and it was a watermelon,
Yeah.
$15.99
For a watermelon.
For a watermelon. But I was about to pick it up, and I was like, no, $15.99. And then I shook my head. I'm like, Anita, your kids love watermelon. Grab it. You would pay $15 for a 9-ounce glass of wine any day at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So, just things like that I'm looking at a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we made some cuts.
So
and-
cable, that's a good one.
Cable. That's
Yeah.
what we got, number 3. So we'll come to 2 more.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bike, riding my bike.
Well, that would be proximity, I would assume.
Okay, well, let's look at riding your bike then as activity, as something to do, right?
Yeah.
So my point was you're always looking for a place to go, and it feels like you're not really doing anything unless you're spending money,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things that riding the bike has done for me is showed me a part of the city that I never knew existed. It made me re-fall in love with Winnipeg because we only see it from the roads, right? And most people are just so scared to ever go downtown. But imagine, and those people will never get out of their cars and literally walk. Maybe they'll do the skywalk or whatever. But when we started riding our bikes, I realized all the cool little unique places that exist besides all the big corporations. I didn't realize how much money we put into infrastructure with respect to bike paths. And did you know that in the middle of Winnipeg, you can go and see deer? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's in St. Boniface by that Riel, what is it, the Seine River?
Oh,
the little
Wisteria, what's it called? Whittier Park.
Whittier Park, where
Yeah.
the
Festival.
right there.
Yeah.
So if you get in there with your bike, I have several pictures of us, and there's just deer there. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
right literally in the center
love
of
that
Winnipeg.
park.
You wouldn't know it existed until you do it, and it really is a place that we love to go. I find a lot of peace there. One of my favorite things to do is to load up a backpack with lunch, and then we set a mission. So I'll say, okay, we're going to ride 20 kilometers. We'll find it wherever that is.
Yeah.
We get there. We have these little chairs that fold
Yeah.
into a little bag. We bring it out, and then that's like my
It's
favorite thing to do.
romantic. It's activity.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
Yeah,
That's your outing.
every birthday that I've had since I was 40 has been jump on the bike and go for lunch. And last 2 years ago, or maybe last year, when did I lose Isha? 2 years ago now?
Yep.
Anyways, and so I lost my dog, and we rode over to Assiniboine Park, and I really felt like that was such a nice thing to do for myself after losing my dog. So, anyways, saving money just with respect to
Free activities.
Free activities, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then and seeing new things. You don't get sick of your city. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. For us with the kids, we'll take them to different parks. Like I actually have a list on my fridge that I use my ANITA SHARMA family photo thing. That's why I asked, do you have a family photo? So I have that one on my fridge, and on there is a list of activities that we're doing, and one of them is to go to like the different parks throughout the city, and we've done that. We go to Assiniboine Park, we'll go to Kildona. The kids can't play in the structures now, but that was on the list of things to do, and that's free. I mean, if we had older kids like you, and we had to bring them to Kid City or the trampoline place, like it's like $15 to $20 a head, right?
Oh my gosh, for 2 of my kids to jump the trampolines was $90.
There you go.
90.
So I put $100 for free activities a month. That's if you do one activity.
Yeah.
So that's number 4. So I want to jump back and because I'm interested in this. What were the restaurants that you ran?
Oh, you know what? My first one was back in 2002.
Okay.
It was called Loca Cafe. It was in Gimli. Both
Okay.
my restaurants were in Gimli.
Okay.
And
Where in Gimli? So you know where that restaurant is where the guy just cooks, like takes whole food and he just throws it, and then you get a pizza and there's like a whole onion on there?
oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? What's
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Are you
I-
talking about Europa?
Is that what it's
I
called?
think so, like
It's
right on the
This
corner?
Greek restaurant, the guy will not let anybody touch his stove. He cooks on the stove, and it's the same. So if you have any allergies or anything like that, forget about it, right?
Yeah.
He's
Love it.
He takes a whole mushroom, and he just throws it on the grill, and he'll make you a pizza. He'll take the whole mushroom, and he just moves it around, puts it on your food, and so you're gonna get a pizza. So it's like this, and then you're gonna have a whole onion or a mushroom just sitting on your pizza.
He
like
doesn't
this.
cut it up and spread it out?
And then he like a large French fries. He gives you a bag, like he just gives you the whole bag of potatoes, and it's like, who's gonna eat all
Yeah,
this?
it's crazy. Yeah,
A lot of waste.
Is he-
It's probably not the most profitable business.
Yeah. Is he a personality? Like, is he
Oh,
like
he's
that
like that.
Seinfeld?
Yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a
No
hard
food
ass.
for you.
No food.
So,
for you. Okay, so
yeah, no food.
where was it
Loca?
in comparison?
So,
to
you know where the hotel is there,
Yeah,
the
right
Lakeview
across.
Hotel.
Yeah.
So just down that, it was on the beach. So
Okay.
imagine going down the beach.
Yeah.
And by the concession stand, that's
Yeah.
where our business was. So.
Was it a standalone
No,
or?
like my dad bought a motel back
Okay.
there in 2002.
Okay.
And then there was a Chinese restaurant in the motel.
Okay.
And so my dad knew I wanted to open up a restaurant. The Chinese restaurant moved to another location. He said, "Go for it." So I opened it up. Really not. I was I waitressed all my university life and young high school life, but I didn't really know much about the restaurant industry, and I tried it. Me and my husband. That's kind of where we met out there,
Yeah.
and gave it a go.
And so, give us some experience. What happened?
You know what? It's a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
like a lot of hard work.
Especially in a business you don't know anything about.
And we had great people around us that would help us, but it was working 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. almost every day.
Oh my God.
Was Umish there?
Umish
Working?
was there. Umish was there.
He's
Umish
listening.
there eating.
Umish worked the bar.
Umish
He
worked the bar. Classic.
Perfect.
Yeah, classic.
Your security. Umish the security guard.
We were in our.
Was this big Umish or small Umish?
This was medium-sized Umish.
Okay, medium-sized,
Yeah,
okay.
medium-sized Umish. So you know him, his personality. The
Yeah.
bar patrons loved him,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He'll never let me live this down. We were in our 20s, and one man at the bar asked him, "Is this your mom?"
Oh, no.
And so he and I still laugh at that to this day. He's like, "No, she's like 11 months older than me."
Yeah.
But
Well, you guys are that close.
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't even say we're twins anymore. Look at him. He looks amazing.
He's so
right?
fit. We're going to get you there, Anita. We're going to get you there. If I have to message you every night for the next
the messages are
365
appreciated.
days.
So what? Okay, let's not get off track. So you had
Yeah.
that restaurant, and then you had a second.
So opened that restaurant, and then we sold the business.
Okay.
A land developer bought it, and then I opened the clothing store. After that, so it was a clothing boutique on Academy. Had it for 10 years, and then during that time, so had the clothing boutique, opened up another restaurant. After I said I would never open up another restaurant, it was just timing. We found the perfect spot. It was a pub in Gimli again.
Okay.
Gimli it has our heart. Like my husband's from Gimli.
Okay.
So we did that as well. Got that going. Had the clothing boutique. Clothing boutique for
In
about 10
Gimli?
years. Clothing boutique was on Academy
On
Road.
Academy.
Yeah.
Okay, what was it called?
Loca.
Oh, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Kept the same name.
Okay.
It's still in existence. I sold it.
Oh, wow.
It's on Academy.
Okay. I think I've seen that. Is it like a script there?
Yeah, it's like the old Moulet building. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys remember
Right next to
Moulet.
the bowling
That's
alley?
right.
Yeah.
Like across the street.
I know where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Sarah owned that at one point in time, no?
Who?
Sarah?
Oh, no, she had another business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then opened up the pub in Gimli, and it was more like the cafe was more of a breakfast, lunch, early dinner, where the pub was more late night. So we'd open at for lunch and go till 2 a.m. every night.
So which type did you like more than the other?
You know what? They both had their pros and cons. Like for the breakfast rush, getting there at 7 a.m. every day was like, ugh, but we did it.
Yeah.
We had a great breakfast crowd.
Yeah.
The pub was late nights. With the pub, there was a lot of drinking, right? So you see all kinds of personalities.
Oh, I hear you. Yep.
And
Or
with-
changes in personality in a couple hours.
and we
Digression in personalities.
yeah, we have a lot of friends out there, so
Yeah.
it was kind of our social setting. We'd
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
working, but we'd see all of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so all three of those businesses were amazing. Taught me a lot.
So when did you get into real estate and why?
So I got into real estate 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And my family, my brothers, my dad, they've always been into acquiring commercial properties. So I would manage them and found it interesting. And my dad one day said to me, you should consider real estate. And I looked into it a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to go for it. I was expecting my first child, took the course. It's a home study, so it was pretty easy to do with the business. I would take it to work with me. And you know what? I started off as a team. I was mentored by a realtor who was in the business for 20 years, super successful. He taught me everything he knew, and I was like a sponge. I just took it all in. So 5 years later, after that, I went on my own, and I haven't looked back since.
Well, your marketing is on point. I've always seen your face, your image, your brand, literally everywhere. My mother used to be a real estate agent, so
Yeah.
and I still remember you I think I knew Umesh at the time. I remember the last name, and I remember seeing your face come up in a lot of things like in the MLS and whatnot. So, well done. You're crushing it for sure. And you are the #1 agent for 2019. That's going to be a big deal, right?
It was a lot of hard work. To get that honor. I sold 144 properties in 2019.
Wow.
So it was.
Wow.
It's working every day, all day. That's what it is.
We might let you get away with the whole "I'm busy" excuse. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a lot of properties.
You know what? It was great. It was amazing. It was exhausting. It was everything.
So this kind of comes at a nice time for people like you and I. I don't know about Rick's day, but I know my day was just all day, every day. And it was like you just want something like this, but you feel guilty for taking it off. So now the us, we're kind of like in the middle of our like life kind of thing, right? And so you don't get a break like this until you're either old and just super tired or you're just like in a grave, right? And so it's like this now is for all those people out there that were just going nuts with their life, and like it was nonstop phones, emails, text, social media, people, calling, all this and that. Now it's like, well, yeah, but everybody's business is at least slowed to a 50% halt.
Sure.
There's no way anybody's still at 100% capacity. Even the people that need their stuff, they're doing all online. It's definitely slowed down too, right?
The reboot. Everybody needs a reboot.
It's a reboot, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of good for a lot of us. So what are you doing now with the time that you would be doing open houses? And I know you guys are still allowed to do open houses, but you're going to get one, maybe two people now.
No open houses actually.
Oh, none?
They're not allowed. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think you guys understood my life a little bit. It was a whirlwind. It really was. Like, in order for me to fit fitness into my day, I had to get here to the 5:15 or 5:30 class, and it was a struggle. Obviously, you didn't.
You're
you
going to
didn't see
bed
me
at
all the
11,
time.
12.
I'm going to
right?
bed at midnight,
Yeah.
right? And as much as I wanted to be here, because I actually really do like working out, it makes me feel good, But it's been something that's just, I wasn't able to kind of fit into my schedule or make it work. Everyone can fit everything in.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's
of
what do I sacrifice,
Yeah.
right? So my day was a whirlwind. So with this all happening, it really took me a week and a half to adjust.
Yeah. Big time, didn't it?
Holy crap! I was lost.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Roz, who her and I worked together.
Yeah, she was just getting going.
She looked at me and she said to me, "You must be just so lost." And I said, "I am.
Yeah,
like I
it
really
is.
am."
Yeah.
And but you know what? I have to say, it's for me, and I know this isn't for everybody, but people are going through tough times, and I get that, and I feel for them. But for me, this kind of reset has been something I needed. Actually, I really did. I was spiraling.
Yeah.
And the time that I'm getting with my kids right now, I never had that.
Never.
I didn't have a mat leave. I didn't have a parental leave.
Nope.
With my last one, I went back to work after 2 days. So, like...
So will you continue this moving forward? Do you think you'll be able to step back and maybe not take on so much on your plate? Like, will you continue this reset?
You know what? I definitely want to fit it into my lifestyle. I know that's important to me. Like, the time I'm getting with my kids and my husband is important to me. So work, like, I've never been one to say no. Like, I can't say no to work. But now I know maybe things can wait a little bit. Like, maybe I don't have to return that email as soon as I see it in my inbox. Like, I don't know. Like, it's this time will tell, right? Like,
And it's nice that, here, it's now cold again, right? So for us Winnipeggers, if I lived out in California, I'd be surfing every day. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how my life would evolve. But here in Winnipeg, we had a couple nice days, so everybody's like, yeah, we can go and like burn off 2-3 hours being. No. Now you're back inside. So now you got to deal with your issues. Meaning, maybe not your issues of, like, our issues are a little bit different. We're always busy, right? We're always going. So it's like now you have to go and spend that time, and you have to spend some time in reflection and get back. And I think I like the way that the weather's going. It's working for us. I know that a lot of people are going through some very tough times, but the way I see it is if you can get out of this, you can get out of anything, because this is probably going to be the toughest thing that you're ever going to have to do in your life is to do nothing. So it's like, what are you going to do with all this time? Right?
Yep.
And so some people are run into the LC. But I think eventually they're going to get bored of all that. Some people are binge watching Netflix. They're going to get bored of all that. And, you know, the true people that are going to, you know, there's people that are going to completely collapse, but they're probably going to collapse anyways. And then there's people that are just like, hey, this is like, okay, I got to deal with my stuff, man.
I feel like the biggest challenge is the feeling of guilt.
Yeah.
Right? You're always guilty. So let's say pre-corona.
Yeah.
You know, like I surround myself with busy people. You know, you're busy, my wife is busy, always moving. So there'll be you know, and I've set my life up so that I'm not that. I don't want to have to always be moving. I don't want to. I've never woken up to an alarm clock, and believe it or not, I still don't. And I get up early now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if you're not moving 100 miles an hour or 1,000 miles an hour, you have this sense of guilt, and you almost feel like you're like lazy, right? So you feel, and a lot of people attach their self-worth with being busy. I'm super busy, so therefore I'm important, therefore I'm doing something. And if you're not busy, and if you're like, yeah, I got time, I'm not doing much, then you're not making moves in the world or something like that, even though you are. And I really feel like it's a mindset that many people have to get over. And we suffer from the guilt and the lazy. Everybody does. Yeah. So it's almost like you're juggling it yourself. You know what I mean? That's what I find to be is one of the biggest challenges is allowing yourself feeling really good about just taking a minute. You know, it's okay to not take that appointment. Like I know I'm selling my house right now, and somebody's like, "We're going to be there at 4:45." It's like, nah, come like an hour later. You know what I mean? Like why right now? Like I still got to clean this place. You know, but or whatever it is that you're doing. I really feel like if people allowed themselves to enjoy a little bit, smell the roses, take a bike ride, take a walk, not answer that email immediately. Why do you have to have your email answered immediately? Why have we set it up in the world that if you don't reply to my text in 5 seconds, I hate your guts? You know what I mean? Where did this come from? I don't even get it anymore.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. And if there's anything, and yes, the coronavirus sucks, but I really, really, really hope that people come out of this with a brand new mindset. The only problem is that people forget fast. They forget everything. Yes. So the coronavirus will be in our rear view in no time, and then everybody will be back being busy and back to the emails and back and time stamping and how do I make my shit more efficient? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know what the right answer to that question is, but all I know is that one of the challenges that I've done in this whole saving money, which is a good point, becoming a minimalist is taking all of the distraction out of your life and enjoying the moment. And that's really something that I strongly believe in at this point in my life.
I actually really, really love that about you. Yeah. Like you nailed the guilt thing. The way you live your life is very, very applaudable.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So and then and people say, well, I run a business and I'm a fitness coach, and I spend a lot of time doing this. This isn't my business, right? But that's how I've set it up. So when RJ came to me 3 years ago and said, hey, I want you to be the fitness coach, my biggest struggle was how do I fit that in? Because I didn't want to be a shitty coach. I want to be a great coach, but you can't do half in, half out, right? Can't. So I had to restructure everything on the back end, which is, like the embroidery part of it. I used to do it in-house. Now I source it out instead because that took 8 hours of my day. So now, through careful planning, I can now run my business, and then I can be an effective coach and be here when he needs me. You know what I mean? So it's all on that back-end stuff, and it really is that sense of guilt that I no longer allow myself to have. It's like, well, why don't you do your embroidery anymore? It's like, well, because I need to be free. I need to have time to do this other stuff that's more important to me, Anyways, that's just what I was getting at right there, is the guilt. Like, just try and get rid of the guilt. That's it. Yeah. And I know the mom guilt, that's the worst guilt, right?
It's the worst.
It's the worst, yeah.
It is the worst.
Can I ask you a question?
Number 5 tip. Think about it. Keep going, though.
Okay. You started something called the Essential Platform. Is that how you word it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you describe that? Because I feel like that's a pretty awesome thing.
Well, you know what? It was something my good friend Gabby and I put together. It was about 2-3 years in the making. What it was just kind of a community for women. Whether you're in business, you're trying to climb that corporate ladder at work. Maybe you're the crafter that wants to break out and start her own business, the artist. It's just kind of living your best life. That's what we call it. And we put this conference together, had some amazing keynote speakers come in and speak to about 400 women, and it was amazing. Your first one, you had 400 attendees? Yeah, sold out. That's awesome. Yeah. So how did you make that so, obviously there's a big hunger for that type of thing? Or? Obviously. Like we didn't know how receptive it was going to be, and like I said, it took a lot of work. She's very busy. She's a marketing director at CBC. I'm a busy realtor. We're both moms. It took a lot of time, but we put it together and
So can you give us an example? So this is a one-day event?
It was a one-day event.
And where was it?
It was at the Museum of Human Rights right here
Oh,
in
nice.
Winnipeg. Yeah,
Yeah.
that location was important to us. So the capacity, like of 400, we maxed it out. Say we had it at RBC Convention Center, we could have had a lot more women there, but we just didn't know how receptive it was going to be.
Yeah. And so can you, what kind of, your speakers, they're talking about what?
So Manjeet Minhouse, who is like Dragon's Den, the brewery queen, she was one of our keynotes. She was amazing. Just talking about her own story, you know,
Okay.
her story to success. Jillian Harris, she's another one that women admire. You know, she...
TV show star, right?
Yeah.
Is she TV?
You know what? She
her?
initially was on The Bachelor.
Okay.
Many years ago, like
Yeah.
about probably 10, 12 years ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even longer than that. And then just, you know, created this empire for herself. So, and then we had amazing local speakers, like business owners and amazing women come and speak.
So besides the speakers, what other activities were you doing with these 400 attendees?
You know what? It was a very kind of lax environment where a lot of components in the day were just kind of networking within the women around you, you know, and I myself met so many people that, you know, I supported their shops but didn't know the woman behind it. And so it was important that face-to-face was pretty awesome.
Nice. You're going to do it, obviously this is going to be an annual thing?
You know what? We would love to do it again. And we're talking about it. Again, it was like the why. We got to still remember, okay, why are we doing this, right? Because the work was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, so was it worth it, let's say on the financial side, and then was it worth it on, you know, what you got out of it, the feel-good side?
You know what? The financial side, we were working at a break-even model.
Yeah.
You know, being our first one, we wanted some pretty fantastic keynotes, and with them come a price tag, right? So to say we made any money, no, we didn't. Probably more so in the red, but that's not the reason why we did it. But now we got to say, like, you know, your time has to be worth it, right? Like,
Absolutely.
it's coming from somewhere, and my business didn't suffer. Obviously, I had the best year of my life there. So what suffered? Myself, my family, right? So.
Yeah. So how can we help? I feel like this is a great environment or a great thing to create, and I feel like there's obviously a hunger for it. If you sold out 400 in your first year, I can only imagine where this would possibly go.
Well,
right?
you know what? I appreciated Fit Club being a part of it.
Yeah, we donated.
They were in each one of the attendee swag bags, a pass to experience this amazing gym, you know, so.
Were all your speakers female?
They were.
Would you take on a male speaker?
You know what? I don't see why not,
Yeah.
right? Like, just depends what they have to add and the value,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to do a men's one, I think, in Winnipeg.
Why
a
don't
lot
we
of
do it in
guys
conjunction?
need to be told how it is. kind of thing.
I feel like that's a great point. But anyway, so that's great. That was awesome that you did it. I heard lots of good things about it.
No, I'm glad.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a point number 5 for saving moolah?
I don't know. Do you have one, Anita?
You know what? I actually think I'm saving money not working right now. I don't know.
That's a good point. Explain that. Explain that one.
Well, you know what? I'm not driving my office is my vehicle, right? So my vehicle's parked, even though gas is at an amazing price, but my office is my vehicle. So I'm saving on gas. I'm not going to, you know, having meetings in restaurants and that
Right.
sort of thing. I'm also the type of person when I'm, say I'm showing a house in River Heights, I'll take an extra kind of hour or two for the day and hit my favorite shops up. I'm still like, it's on my list. I love supporting businesses. I'm ordering gifts. I'm doing whatever I can to support businesses.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm at home. But aside from the groceries and the necessities, we're really not spending a lot of money right now.
Yeah. Cool.
So let's say eat at home.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, that'd be also a good thing to do right now is to practice your cooking skills. You know, I feel like a lot of
That's a necessity. It's like learning to swim.
how do we not know how to cook? You know what I mean? We really don't. And my wife, 2-3 years ago, couldn't cook a thing. Now she whips up meals that chefs would
Wouldn't have known that.
Great, but you know, like
Here's
you
a
didn't know
fun-
that?
I didn't know that, but I got a fun story from yesterday.
Okay.
So, what did it? Jet wanted something, craft dinner or something. I'm like, making this. Haven't had this in a long time. I'm like, fiddling around, and we got this new glass top stove thing, right? I've probably used the stove twice. And I haven't used it in probably 6 months, right? Nary's kitchen. She loves to cook, right? So, like, why would I take that away from her, right? I always cooked. Prior to her, I would cook, and I cook like a man, right? We're eating just meat and broccoli. That's all you're getting. That's the way I eat, right? I'm simple. But she likes to cook the fancy, so I'm like, okay, cool, then do that, right? So I try to turn the stove on, and I'm like,
I tried to turn the stove on.
and she's doing this, right? And I'm doing this, and I'm like, Nara, I don't know how to start the stove. She's like, what do you mean you don't know? I said, I've used it twice. And she's like, she's giving me a hard time. And then I quoted Rick Mancher. Blue jobs and pink jobs. So that's now my go-to.
You're quoting Jeanette or Jen Mancher.
Yeah.
Not me. That's
I
her.
said, hey, when that toilet was plugged downstairs, who unplugged it? Okay.
Yeah, Teddy.
There was a lot of poo. No, it was me. I had to go and do it dirty because this was just a couple, you know what I mean? It was like, I did that. So I don't know how to use the stove. Maybe you can teach me.
Yeah. I think we got about 35 minutes under our belt here.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about anything else?
No, I think you guys covered it.
What are you telling people out there that are moms or
little reassurance from
Anita?
like
what would you tell them? What advice would you tell them? How would you make them feel good right now?
You know what? I've always been a glasses half full kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here for anybody that needs an ear, but know we're going to get through this, right? Enjoy this time with your loved ones. If you're struggling, reach out to somebody. You know, if you don't have anyone to reach out to, find me on social media. I'll lend you an ear.
Or get in our groups.
Yeah, your groups are fantastic,
Yeah,
RJ.
like, get in the
They really are.
community.
You guys
Yeah.
are. You know what? Like, these virtual videos have been amazing for me and stuff like that. But your club is something special. You offer more than just a gym space. Friendships have been formed here. Families have been formed here. You know, like these doors need to get opened back up.
Yeah,
and hopefully soon for people.
Well, that's our next thing, and maybe you can head this, Anita, because we're looking for somebody to head it. Is that we want to? So we do our workouts at 7 in the morning. We do our podcasts from 9 till 10. Then I do an extra workout, even though I'm bagged, right? But I'm doing it for them. Like you used to talk about break even with these things. Like with the business, there's no new business. We put an ad out yesterday, and we had nothing, not even a link click. So it's not like we're drawing in new business.
Yeah.
Like we're, slowly people are either fading out or we're just maintaining. That's where our business is right now. So I'm doing it for them. When I get up at 6 in the morning and I can barely open up my eyes, it's not for me to make profits right now, right? Excuse me. But we're looking for somebody to host like a virtual, this is not what I do, wine night. You know what I mean? Like, or let's just put a movie on and let's just, be in each other's presence and have a Zoom setup. Like we need, that's what our big plan for the future was to have more events. Like we had Jen, did you know that it's almost our 3rd year?
Oh yeah,
That's in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like we had a big party planned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we want to bring in these more community engagements, and so we're looking for somebody in our group to like just get out there and put it out there. Like they already have like some of the people are hosting these like virtual things, had like a wine night. Like that's what we need in this group, and that's where I want to take my business is like one-stop shop. That's why we host. This is how it all started. It was like, how can we support other businesses, local business, right? Realtors, and how can we make this like, the hub, right? You need something done, you come through us, right? You need a renovation, you go see Ted. You need a realtor, you go see Anita. You need something embroidered, you go see Rick. You need fitness, you come to Fit Club. Yeah, and that's how and it's a face to a name. It's not Fit Club. It's RJ's. I know RJ, or I know Jen, or I know Big Mom, I know Rick.
Yeah, we vet everybody, right?
Yeah.
And it's always nice to work out with people who work out. Yeah. There's just something different about those people. Like, you don't have to go and sit and have coffee. You can do a walk and talk. And they're okay with it.
I feel good spending money with people that spend money with me.
Yeah,
it's like if I'm spending even a little bit more.
You.
Yeah, if I'm spending a little bit more money.
That's the next T-shirt.
I feel good about it because you know why? Because we're probably at zero. A lot of stuff we do through barter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the way of life.
Yeah.
Money doesn't mean anything right now. You can't even go to a restaurant and spend it because they need you to use your credit card.
You got it.
Because they don't want to touch your money. So it means nothing right now.
Next currency, toilet paper. Hey, we're going to wrap this up. Anita, thank you very much for joining us. Get ready to shake it. We're out of here, guys. Woo! We'll see you on the next podcast.
Yeah.
Perfect. There's your timing.